Omni-Man isn't just your average superhero gone bad. This guy might actually be one of the deadliest characters we've ever seen in comics or on TV. And when I say deadly, I mean brutal. So today, we're gonna break down Omni-Man's insane kill count, starting with one of the bloodiest moments in the entire series. At first, Omni-Man seemed like a classic hero, saving the day, mentoring his newly superpowered son, and enjoying a loving family life. But by the end of episode 1, we get one of the most shocking twists in modern superhero stories. Omni-Man lures his allies, the Guardians of the Globe, to their headquarters and suddenly ambushes them, unleashing an absolute bloodbath. He doesn't hold back at all. Within minutes, every single Guardian is dead. We're talking blood, guts, eyeballs, and brains everywhere as this Superman-like figure literally beats the most powerful heroes on the planet to a pulp, making the boys look like My Little Pony. By the time Omni-Man is done, the Guardians, this world's equivalents of Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Flash, are completely destroyed. In that single incident, Omni-Man racks up 7 kills in the Guardians, including Red Rush, a speedster whose skull Omni-Man crushes with his bare hands. He also killed War Woman by snapping her neck, smashed Darkwing into the ground until his brains are spread out on the ground, punched a hand through Green Ghost, ripped off Martian Man's face, destroyed Aquarius' head with a mace, and horribly cut off the head of the Immortal after punching through his torso. The Immortal, true to his name, would later be brought back to life only to be killed again by Omni-Man. It also raised a big question. Why? The short answer is that Nolan is a Viltrumite sent to conquer Earth, and eliminating his champions was step 1. In his twisted view, you might think a guy who just murdered the world's mightiest heroes would lay low for a while. Not Omni-Man. In episode 2, when an alien race called the Flaxons invades Earth, Omni-Man eventually takes the fight to them. And by takes the fight to them, I mean he travels through their portal to the Flaxon homeworld and shows them what a Viltrumite temper looks like. What follows is basically the slaughter of an entire world. Omni-Man destroys the entire Flaxon civilization. We only get glimpses of the destruction he causes in their dimension, destroying buildings, erasing armies, but the result is clear. The Flaxon planet is left in ruins, and Nolan casually returns to Earth covered in alien blood, having taught them a fatal lesson. His parting words to the Flaxons were,
"Earth isn't yours to conquer."
Chilling as it may be, we are here for the numbers. Apparently, time moves faster in their dimension, so Nolan spent what could have been months or years there wiping out their species, even though only days passed on Earth. Moreover, this also implies that the Flaxon planet's population would be way more than Earth's. This absolutely skyrockets Omni-Man's kill tally into the stratosphere. Even if we lowball the population to be exactly equal to Earth, we can say that Omni-Man's rampage wiped out about 7,800,074,673 Flaxons. Yes, roughly 7.8 billion alien lives were wiped out in one extended attack. In the span of just 2 episodes, we went from killing 7 people to killing an entire planet's worth of beings. That's genocide on a planetary scale, the kind of terrible act even the worst villains like Homelander don't accomplish. After the Flaxon genocide, Omni-Man's kill count stands somewhere around 7,800,000,000 plus. Honestly, at this point, he makes other notorious super killers look like small-timers. Omni-Man was just getting started, and he already became a one-man apocalypse. After those huge killings, the middle stretch of Invincible's first season actually has Omni-Man laying relatively low in terms of killing. Nolan spends some time recovering, as his beatdown of the Flaxons left him injured and maintaining appearances with his family. For a few episodes, he doesn't rack up any major kills on screen, but don't get too comfortable. The carnage is far from over. He does manage to add one more unusual kill to the list during this quieter period, a kaiju called Hail Mary. Omni-Man ultimately beats the kaiju to death with his fists, though Cecil, the GDA director, keeps its sedated body on ice to use later. But at least for the moment, Omni-Man scored the win and the kill. So, chalk up one large monster taken down by Nolan. Later, when Omni-Man's wife begins to suspect his betrayal, Cecil and the Global Defense Agency prepare to confront Nolan in episode 7, titled, "We Need to Talk." Of course, confronting Omni-Man is basically a death sentence, as a team of elite soldiers finds out. Cecil sends a specially trained strike force to slow Omni-Man down at the Grayson house. The moment the soldiers open fire, Omni-Man moves at super speed and turns the encounter into a slaughter. He splatters one agent's brains across the floor by smashing his skull to the ground. Another soldier has his face impaled on his own laser gun as Nolan drives it straight through his head. A third is literally torn in half and thrown aside. One female soldier has the misfortune of getting grabbed. Omni-Man twists her body until her spine snaps, then drops her lifeless to the floor. Within seconds, 5 highly trained agents are reduced to bloody corpses. Not only that, but after having his spine broken by Omni-Man, Donald commits suicide by blowing up the house he was in. So let's chalk that kill up to Nolan too. Honestly, whoever greenlit sending normal humans against Omni-Man probably should have known better, as they didn't stand a chance. Omni-Man then takes out his frustration on the GDA's next line of defense, the Reaniman, snapping one of their necks, tearing another in two, and decapitating a third. These zombie soldiers might be super strong and unaffected by pain, but they're no match for an enraged Viltrumite. In a matter of moments, 3 Reaniman are down permanently this time, effectively adding 3 zombie cyborg kills to Nolan's tally. Here, another very important character enters the fray, the Immortal. Remember the Immortal, the Guardian whom Omni-Man decapitated in Episode 1? Well, the Mahler twins bring back the Immortal using special technology. As Episode 7 nears its end, a fully brought back to life Immortal flies in, burning with rage, and attacks Omni-Man to avenge his fallen comrades. For a moment, it looks like Omni-Man might finally face a real challenge. Unfortunately for Immortal, history repeats itself. Omni-Man once again overpowers him, and in one of the show's most graphic moments, he punches straight through the Immortal's chest from behind, then grabs his foe by the torso and literally rips him in half, scattering gore everywhere. Omni-Man has now technically killed this man twice, which is certainly overkill as some characters have a hard time dying just once. By the end of Episode 7, Omni-Man has added at least 10 more kills to his count, consisting of 5 GDA soldiers, 3 Reaniman, Donald, and the Immortal again. This by the back of the head and drives him down through the city at super speed, straight through an office building. The damage. The result is that dozens of people in that building are crushed to death instantly. We even see passengers are literally shredded to pieces as their bodies collide with Omni-Man and Invincible. In mere seconds, the subway car goes from full of living people. At that moment alone, the Viltrumite warrior racks up an astounding death toll. After the train, the carnage continues. Omni-Man pummels Mark through the city, crashing through vehicles and infrastructure. By the time Omni-Man nearly beats Mark to death on a city street, the toll is immense. Oh, and in between all this, Cecil sent 3 jets after Nolan, only for one of them to get his face and part of his skull crushed by the ruthless Viltrumite. Later, authorities tally the damage. 2,341 people, including civilians and GDA soldiers, were killed in Chicago during Omni-Man's rampage. Thousands more were injured. The show even gives us a heart-wrenching glimpse of a memorial wall with names of the fallen, making the victims feel real. But the damage is done. Omni-Man's Season 1 kill count is already massive, and the world now knows him as the monster he truly is. After the catastrophic events in Chicago, Omni-Man flees Earth. Season 2 finds Nolan off-world, so he isn't around to directly rack up nearly as much carnage, at least not on Earth. Mark is left dealing with his father's legacy while Omni-Man is light years away. However, even in absence, Nolan's murderous past has long-lasting effects that add a couple more indirect kills to his name. In a Season 2 flashback, we learn that during Omni-Man's initial betrayal of the Guardian massacre, he accidentally sentenced a pair of petty criminals to death. One of the Guardians he killed was Darkwing, this universe's version of Batman. Early that night, Darkwing had caught 2 criminals and left them bound for the authorities in his lair. But after Omni-Man murdered Darkwing, no one ever came to free those crooks. It's darkly funny in a way. Omni-Man likely didn't even know or care. But those 2 men ended up stranded, tied up for so long that by the time anyone found them, they had died, likely of thirst or starvation. These are essentially proxy kills on Omni-Man's ledger. If he hadn't killed Darkwing, those guys wouldn't have been left to such a grim fate. For most of Season 2, Omni-Man himself is out of the picture, so the trail of bodies doesn't grow significantly on screen. In fact, Nolan is trying to lay low, but trouble has a way of finding him. By the end of Season 2, we catch up with Omni-Man on an alien planet called Thraxa, where he's been living quietly among an alien race and has even started a new family. Peace doesn't last. A duo of Viltrumite enforcers, formidable warriors named Vidor and Thula, track him down. This confrontation, shown in the Season 2 episode, It's Been a While, proves that Omni-Man hasn't lost his killer instinct. A brutal fight breaks out. Nolan punches Vidor so hard that he splits the Viltrumite's skull open, and then grabs Thula, a Viltrumite woman, and slams his elbow into her face, shattering her jaw. While there's some debate among fans whether these 2 actually died on the spot, the sheer brutality of a caved-in skull and a broken face makes it safe to count them as 2 kills for Nolan. By the end of Season 2, Omni-Man also ends up surrendering to the coalition of planets in a surprising attempt to make up for his actions and aid the fight against Viltrum. This leads directly into more violence in Season 3. In Season 3, Omni-Man's path to potential redemption is, unsurprisingly, lined with more bodies. The Viltrumites do not take kindly to Nolan switching sides. As a result, Omni-Man finds himself imprisoned by the Viltrum Empire, slated for execution. Of course, Nolan isn't the type to accept a death sentence quietly. With the help of his new ally, Alan the Alien, Omni-Man stages a prison break. The escape sequence, shown in a Season 3 episode like You Were My Hero, is another showcase of Omni-Man's brutality, this time directed at alien jailers. Together, Omni-Man and Alan plow through the Viltrumite prison guards. These guards include various alien species, as anyone foolish enough to stand between Omni-Man and freedom meets a swift end, either smashed to bits or sucked into the vacuum of space. As such, Nolan adds about 10 more kills during the escape. In one particularly satisfying moment, Omni-Man and Alan double-team a Viltrumite executioner who is about to carry out Nolan's sentence, crushing the executioner's skull with their combined fists and taking him out permanently. This is a bit of poetic justice, perhaps, with Omni-Man destroying the very enforcer of the Empire he once served. A flashback in Season 3, Episode 2 also shows us another kill from Omni-Man's past, a giant kaiju that he apparently dealt with at some point. In this brief scene, we see Omni-Man fly straight through the huge beast, splitting it in two. It's a blink and you miss it moment, but it confirms Nolan has at least one more monster kill under his belt, bringing his count of massive monsters to 2. By the end of Season 3's events, Omni-Man's killing spree is slowed only because there are fewer immediate targets left. He's now actively opposing the Viltrumite Empire, but his method of opposition involves killing those who come after him. Whether they're aliens, robots, or fellow Viltrumites, Nolan does not hesitate to eliminate anyone posing a threat. So, how many people has Omni-Man killed in total? Adding up all the above carnage yields a number that hardly seems real. As of the end of Season 3, Omni-Man's kill count stands at an unreal 7,800,077,067 victims. Yes, you read that right. At least over 7.8 billion lives taken by one man, or rather, one Viltrumite. This figure includes beings of all kinds, since his hands are rated E for everyone. The tally includes approximately 7.8 billion alien beings if we lowball the Flaxon species he genocided in Earth's population, plus a handful of other aliens and Viltrumites. Additionally, he destroyed 6 security robots, 3 zombie reanimen, and 2 monsters. To call his body count enormous would be an understatement. Omni-Man has single-handedly killed entities or those who wipe out half the universe with a snap. What's truly terrifying is how up close and personal many of these kills were. He didn't just press a button to eliminate lives from afar. Omni-Man brutalized most of his victims with his bare hands. He eventually feels guilt and tries to make things right, but no amount of regret can erase the mountains of corpses in his wake. Whether Omni-Man can ever find redemption is a tale for another day. What we know for sure is his sheer scale of death he's responsible for. Then that makes even the bloodiest of cartoon characters or villains look tame. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to be notified of any latest uploads. That said, see you in the next one.